Okay, everybody. I know you'd probably be expecting Alice at this time, and we were hoping she would be here, but just due to some complications always related to COVID, she hasn't quite made it. She's rushing to get here. You might get to see the lovely Alice before the end of the presentation. So let me try and substitute. I know I'm a poor substitute, but I'll do my best. My name's David Henley.
David, we do have somebody called God who's joined us, so there you are.
Excellent. Hello, God. Thank you for joining us. I don't remember the RSVP, but it is okay. If you can hear Play School in the background, that is because I've got a little boy playing Play School in the background. I hope that doesn't infringe on any licensing restrictions and copyright. Of course, I need to acknowledge, and I'm happy to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land. I am currently in Ngunnawal territory, though we are going out across the country. So this is our 9th year. This year we had over 100 entries, and this is the first time we had a dedicated part of the prize for regional writers. And about, what did I get? We got 45 entries from the regional areas, which was fantastic. So this year we have 2 winners, one from a regional area and one from a metro area. The shortlist this year, and forgive me if I say any of these names wrong, I've only ever seen them written down, thus the trouble of publishing. Christine Baylant, Kim Kelly, Andy McAnocchi, Helen Meany, Melissa Jones-Murphy, and Irene Nankervell. So congratulations to all the shortlist, and we will find out soon who the winners are. But first, a word from our sponsor. Roger, can you chime in? Are you there, Roger?
Yes, hit mute and all will be revealed. Thank you. I'm Roger Osborne. I'm representing the Foundation for Australian Literary Studies tonight. I'm speaking to you from Irukandji land, Nomabutta campus, that's in Cairns. I just wanted to briefly mention who we are. The Foundation for Australian Literary Studies. We're thrilled to partner with Seizure and Brio Books to support this year's Viva la Novella Prize. The Foundation for Australian Literary Studies aims to foster the study and appreciation of Australian literature in all its forms and awards the Colin Roderick Award annually since 1967. That award's being announced next week for this year. That award recognises the best Australian book of the year that deals with any aspect of Australian life. But through its partnership with Seizure and Brio Books, FALS continues to recognise excellence in Australian writing by drawing attention to writers and writing from the regions. FALS wishes to acknowledge the Percy Rowland Memorial Fund from which the sponsorship is drawn. We hope this award will encourage more writers from regional areas to work with the form of the novella and lead us to the discovery of new voices to add to the list of past winners of the Viva la Novella Prize. And with that, I'll get out of your way so you can start doing the announcements. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Roger. Now, if you have a glass to charge, or which I think just means fill it up, then do so. I'm going with French cider tonight. Since Alice didn't make it, I get my choice. All right. I'm going to press the button to the next slide, and then there's going to be a countdown for 10 seconds, and then you get to open the one with the big chunky 1 on it. It should be a thin envelope, so be ready. Okay, there's a countdown, and then we can all open at the same time. Oh, hang on, resume share. Okay, open the window when the countdown reaches 0. That seems pretty easy. Fingers ready. 5, 4, 3, 2. I've already started. Open, and it's Water Music by Christine Baylant. Christine, are you out there in Zoom land? John, can you find Christine? John, I can't hear you.
I'm on my way. There is a number of people here. There you are, Christine. I can ask you to unmute. In fact, I can unmute you. There you are.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause my share. Christine, are you there?
Yes, hello. Can you see me?
Congratulations on your winning entry.
Thank
I
you.
can't
It's
actually
very
see which
exciting.
person I'm talking to, but I guess I don't need to.
Thank you so much, David. It's very exciting.
It's been a pleasure working with you in secret this year. Did you want to tell everybody a little bit about your book, or would you like to jump straight into a reading?
I'll try and give a potted summary. Water Music tells the story of Lucetta, who was an orphan in Venice in the late 1700s. Lucetta was one of the young women who was privileged to be given an incredible musical education. So a lot of the wonderful music that came out of Venice during this period was written for orphan girls, and that Lucetta, my character, is one of these girls. So it's about her finding her voice, finding her place, and making a decision about her future.
It's a lovely book. This has got just beautiful writing in it, so I suggest everybody read it. But you're working on a longer version?
Yes, well, it grew out of, I've been working on a large sort of multi-voice novel for quite a few years, and this novel has gone through many changes, and it began with 4 voices, it went to 3, then it had some different ones, so it's lots of characters have come and gone. At a certain point, as I was working through that large manuscript, I felt that the character of Lucetta didn't belong as one of the main voices. So I thought she belonged as a character, but her story was too kind of distinct, and it didn't quite, I felt that it was going in a different direction from the other voices, so I pulled her out. So that's that is where Lucetta began her life, and now she's hopefully off on her separate journey.
No, it's great. It's a beautiful story, and how historically correct, true is it?
Well, the characters are all fictionalized, but I did do quite a lot of research into the context. So I spent some time in Venetian archives, looking through the way that they operated and how that kind of all functioned. And I spent some time also in choirs, specializing in some of the music written for the orphan girls. And so I had some experiences singing it, some wonderful experiences singing.
Oh, really?
As well, yes.
Hopefully we'll get to hear that sometime.
Yes.
Are you ready? Are you ready to give us a quick reading?
Sure. Yes. No, I just have to navigate because I haven't.
I'm going to mute the play school for a moment.
All right. Mama was taken straight to the Priora. She placed the basket holding a sleeping Leonello at her feet. Within 2 minutes, I was in her arms, limp and tiny, eyes only half open, nuzzling her chest, opening my mouth. I had just been retrieved from the revolving stone cradle in the courtyard, the scaffetta, and I yawned for my breakfast. Later, after she took me home and fed me, Mama unwrapped the swaddling to inspect me. It was not unusual for a foundling to be missing a limb or a finger. When she lifted me into the air and saw that I was fully formed, an unevenly cut rectangle of parchment fluttered to the floor. My birth mother had left me with half a carefully painted wind chart showing the direction of the Sirocco wind blowing hot and dry from the Sirocco desert. The wind brought rain and storms. In the south, it could bring blood rain. In Venice at high tide, the Sirocco wind would bring aqua alta and a feeling of unease. For herself, my real mother had kept the ponente, the wind blowing from the west, the direction of the sunset. She had also kept the tramontane, the north wind, and anything foreign or uncanny. If she ever came for me, I would know her by the perfect reunification of the wind chart, the 2 halves slotting together with a barely discernible seam, as though they had never been separated. Thank you.
Okay. Back to resume share. Okay, everybody ready for the next one? But first, before that, my glass goes up to Christine. Thank you. And now, for the next countdown, everyone prepare your winner too. Okay, and on the countdown, you can open. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5, 4, 3. There's that drum roll. 2, 1. I'm tearing already. I'm not in yet. Congratulations, Helen Meany, for Every Day is Gertie Day. John, can you find Helen in the group?
I went right ahead. I opened my envelope 3 seconds early, and I'm right there.
Okay. There you are.
Me.
Hello, nice to see you. I actually met Helen 5 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
We worked together on the anthology, so it's lovely to be working with you on this one. This is a quite an interesting book. We do have a quote here from one Jane Rawson: "A fresh, funny, and delightfully weird take on authenticity and the people who manufacture it. An utterly believable parallel world from a talented newcomer." We did specifically choose Jane Rawson for this book because it's a very Jane Rawson-y kind of book. Helen, how's it been for you?
Oh, it's been awesome. I'm just going to get my family to turn the sound down because I'm getting this crazy echo.
That's right. I've got Play School to my left.
It's been a trip.
It's been a trip. It feels
Good
like
trip.
It's been a long year.
I think we all feel that.
Did you want to give a potted history of your book? Because I know I muddle it up when I try.
Oh, so do I. I was doing my Masters of Creative Writing at UTS, and I think it took shape initially in the novel writing subject with Deborah Adelaide. I think it was that one. And it sort of grew from there. It's been short, it's been long. I only kind of considered it a practice book. So I was just astonished that anyone would want to publish it.
Look, thank you.
Thank you, but thank you.
Thank you, I guess.
It's a wonderful thing.
You know we like weird. And it is weird. It's hard to describe. It's set in a fictional museum. And there's two factions of society going at each other in person and online about the veracity of what is presented in the museum. But it all gets out of control. It's very hard to explain, but it's also very accurate, very apt for these Trumpian times.
Yes, which
Or
is kind of
post-Trump.
accidental. There's a lot about misinformation and then people leveraging that for their own agenda.
Oh, that was accidental. Okay.
Well, considering, I think a lot of that stuff sort of ramped up since I wrote it. So it's, yeah.
Well, you've seen into the present.
I know, it's
from
terrifying.
before. Are you ready to give us a quick reading?
Yes, I certainly am.
Okay.
Okay. I was on a train when I saw my first pair of elf ears in the wild. When I say in the wild, I mean out and about on people in the real world, not just on the news scroll or on visitors to the thrift house. These ones predated the whole thrift thing. I know this because I saw them on the train I caught to my previous job, which means elf ears were already a thing to some people somewhere before any of this. This first pair were on a woman, not as young as you might think, 30 perhaps, tattooed and heavily riveted with surgical steel. She sat across from me in the vestibule area, engrossed in the news scroll. I pretended to be doing the same while I sneaked glances. I didn't want to seem like a tourist or anything. The ears were pristine, like pale pink seashells arranged artfully on either side of her head, amid waves of glossy blue-black hair. I wondered at first how they could possibly be real, but concluded their wearer wasn't the type to waste time with prosthetics. They were hideous, but weirdly regal or something. I admit I used the word freak when I told Benj about her. Back then you could get away with stuff like that. Funny how quickly that all changed. What became of people like her? I assumed there'd been other early adopters. Did they welcome their newfound social acceptance or resent the sudden normalization of their outsider aesthetic? And what about everything that happened after? Suddenly, there were the people who called themselves Gerties, women who were otherwise unaltered. Their skin, generally, ink-free and unpunctured. Their look accessorised with pillar-box red lips and vintage Bakelite beads and bangles. Their hair was set in feminine waves, and they favoured vintage small-waisted frocks or dark stiff denim. It was a uniform in itself, another 1950s fashion revival, but this time with pointed ears. How much of it was inspired by the stories being concocted about Gertrude Thrift, and how much was quietly brewing zeitgeist?
Very nice. All right. Well, so that's a toast to Helen and a toast to Christine. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Cheers, Christine. Congratulations.
All right, John, spotlight back on me. If anyone has any questions, you can throw them into the chat or try and wave madly until we notice you. I'm just going to put some thank yous out. Thank you to all the booksellers who have joined us today and take the books, because we know novellas are a bit of a hard push, but you know, we love them. We've loved them for 9 years. Next year is year 10. So it's going to be a big year for us, and we are now, joined with Booktopia, so we'll be pushing it even more. Thank you, of course, to Roger and the Falls team, Literary Studies. I'll choose the blue color. Thanks, Arthur. And, sorry, he keeps throwing me off. Thank you to Roger and Emma, who have helped part of the reading team. They will be sponsoring again next year. So for Viva 10, there will be I lost. There will be a regional aspect to the Viva Prize again next year. We will open up submissions probably by the end of the week. Just keep our eyes on the socials. Thank you to Sam Payne. I know you're there somewhere, for the wonderful artwork yet again. So I think that's maybe 5 years of artwork from Sam Payne. He always tries to challenge himself. Thank you, Sam. And thank you to Alice, my lovely wife, and who will probably show up right after this. She's been editing and choosing the winners now, and will be back on board for next year. And is really part of the driving force of what makes it such a quality project. Thank you everybody for coming, and I think that is it for me, unless I've forgotten anything. John, Roger, any questions?
We do of course have a message from Scott Whitmont that says, we assume that all our winners are now available through the Booktopia or your local friendly bookseller, and of course that is absolutely the case.
It is only the friendly booksellers that have taken them on. The unfriendly booksellers
they don't take them. But adding to David's message, thank you to all the booksellers who have supported this over 9 years. As David says, 10 years next year. An extraordinary achievement. And we couldn't have done it without you.
Yes. So thank you to all. Helen, Christine, congratulations again. We'll be talking more in the next few days. It's nice to be public at last.
Yay!
It's probably worse for you, but it's bad for me too.